staff, management, and advertisers.
What's up, everybody? It is PTL time. Thank you so much for being here on a Monday. Good to see everybody already, by the way, in the chat. Yes. And we're going to have some fun today. We got a lot to do. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to get to. Former presidential candidate and former Chicago congressman Joe Walsh is going to be joining us here in a few minutes, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Not that any of you care. Well, maybe some of you do, but I have a very relaxing weekend. Before I get into the serious news, and we do have a lot of serious stuff, business to discuss today, I had a great weekend. It was probably one of my most relaxing weekends I've had in a very long time. As you know, I work very hard for you guys, right? But sometimes I need to get away from politics on the weekend, and went to a concert, saw the band Fuel and Lit, two great 90s alternative rock bands. 2 feet from the stage, one of my favorite bands, and I happen to be friends with the guitar player. Gave me this hat, so I told him I would wear it on the air. I think it looks very sexy on me. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know what you guys think out there. Anyway, but it was a great concert. It was a lot of fun. And then I had a nice pool day, new pool opening up on the Strip, and just so relaxing, great food, great people. I spent some time with friends and just had a really good time. So it was a very relaxing weekend. I am refreshed. I am ready to go. As I said, we have Joe Walsh coming up here in just a few minutes. We're going to have David Pakman, who's going to be joining us on Tuesday. And I will say this on the air. Nancy Mace's people have hit me up again, and there's a chance she might be doing the show. So I'm still working on that. It takes time to get these guests sometimes, so we'll see about that. So the big news. Before I get to the big news of the weekend, I also want to say we're in the YouTube Super Chat, and we're going to have a new contest starting tomorrow. So as you know, if you make a Super Chat donation, we read your comments and questions on the air, and I love it. I think it's great, and we're going to continue to do that. But we are going to be doing this little contest where if you donate a minimum of $25, you're going to be in the running every month to do a 15-minute segment with me live on the air via stream or phone, whatever you prefer. So we're going to pick somebody with a donation of $25 or more in the YouTube Super Chat. We are going to give you the opportunity. We're going to randomly pick somebody to do a segment with me. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to give an opportunity for some of the fans of the show to come on and do a segment with me and chime it up and have a good time. So that's kind of the new contest that we're going to be doing here. It starts tomorrow. So for the entire month of April, anybody with a minimum donation of $25, you get in that virtual drum, and we're going to pick somebody every month to do that. So I just figured I would let everybody know. Also, of course, my website, pushingthelimits.live. All right. So let's get down to business, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump not ruling out the possibility of seeking a third term. I'm not making this up. Yes, that's right. This is the way Kristen Welker on Meet the Press handled this. They did an interview on the phone, and this is how they covered this breaking news. Have a listen to this.
Just hours ago, President Trump called me to tell me he is, quote, pissed off with Russia's President Putin and threatened to impose secondary tariffs on Russia's oil. Quote, if Russia and I are unable to make a deal on stopping the bloodshed in Ukraine, and if I think it was Russia's fault, which it might not be, but if I think it was Russia's fault, I am going to put secondary tariffs on all oil coming out of Russia. Mr. Trump said 25% tariffs on Russian oil could happen any moment and told me he plans to speak with President Putin this week. The president told me, quote, I was very angry, pissed off when Putin started getting into Zelensky's credibility and started talking about new leadership in Ukraine.
Now, that was the first part of it where he's talking about how he's pissed off at Vladimir Putin, and we're certainly going to get to that. And then the second part of the interview, he's talking about the possibility of a third term. We'll get to the Vladimir Putin part of that cut in a moment. But Caroline Leavitt, the blonde bimbo, was asked about this on Fox News over the weekend about the fact that he wants to be or at least he's considering the possibility of a third term, which is obviously against the Constitution under the 22nd Amendment. And Caroline Leavitt is just kind of like pushing it off. Oh, he was asked about it. The journalists are obsessed. Have a listen to this.
Of course, the 22nd Amendment was passed in the wake of 4 terms of Franklin Roosevelt's presidency. It was Republicans who pushed it in the first place, saying that'll never happen again. It took just over 3 years to pass and ratify that amendment. So if the president hopes to change it, it would seem to me time is running out already.
Well, it's funny to me that journalists ask the president this question. He gives an honest and candid answer, and then they spiral about his answer. He was asked this, and you heard him, and he's right. People love the job this president is doing. And as he said, we are focused on this term. We have 4 more years to go, and look at what the president has done.
People love the job the president is doing. Well, sure, the people that voted for him, less than 50% went to the voting booth. But I can guarantee you more than half the country is not happy with what he's doing. And all you have to do is go to these Republican town halls around the country and you will see that. Okay. And she's laughing this off. Well, the president was asked about this and he gave an honest answer. No, an honest answer isn't saying, yeah, that's something that I would consider running for a 3rd term. That's against our Constitution. You blonde bimbo imbecile, you. And then Caroline Leavitt held a press conference this morning in front of the White House outside today. And again, she gave a very similar answer. It's a very honest question, about a possibility of a president's 3rd term, which again is against the Constitution and the 22nd Amendment. But yet the president is throwing that idea out there. And this is the way Caroline Leavitt responds to it, once again, attacking the media for asking the question. Have a listen to this.
Method would the president use to potentially run for a 3rd term? As he said, there are methods there.
Look, you guys continue to ask the president this question about a 3rd term, and then he answers honestly and candidly with a smile, and then everybody here melts down about his answer. The president was talked about this last night on the plane. He said, it's not really something we're thinking about. He has 4 years. There's a lot of work to do. We've done a lot in these nearly first 100 days, and the American people, particularly when it comes to efforts to secure the border.
Yeah. You've definitely done a lot. You guys have definitely done a lot of damage. You've broken the law. You've fired a lot of people that do not deserve to be fired. A lot of innocent people have lost their jobs. You sent a bunch of people that you allegedly call gang members, and we'll get to that, to El Salvador. Gas prices have gone up throughout the country on average. Groceries have gone up on average. These 25% tariffs are costing American consumers money. Yeah, you've done a lot of damage. Let's not even forget Signal Chat. We'll get to that. But Donald Trump was asked on Air Force One yesterday about the possibility of running a 3rd term. And instead of any responsible, normal human being that would say, no, that's against the Constitution, I'm not going to do that. Let's worry about what's going on right now, because that's what a normal person would say. This is the way Donald Trump responded.
We're not joking about a 3rd term, about possibly wanting a 3rd term. Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January?
I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a 3rd term, which is, in a way, it's a 4th term, because the other election, the 2020 election was totally rigged. So it's sort of a 4th term in a certain way. I just don't want the credit for the 2nd, because Biden was so bad. He did such a bad job. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm popular, if you want to know the truth. I think I'm popular because we've done a great job. I think we've had the best almost 100 days of any president.
Yeah, right. That makes a lot of sense. What a great 100 days. And there he goes again, lying about the 2020 election. The orange orangutan, liar in chief, saying it was rigged again. He still can't get over it. The infant can't get over the fact that he lost the 2020 election. And these MAGA morons, why do you guys keep bringing up the 2020 election? Your orange leader keeps bringing it up. The question had nothing to do with 2020. It had to do with the possibility of you saying you want to run for a 3rd term, which is against the Constitution, the 22nd Amendment. And then he's the idiot that brings up the 2000. It was rigged. It was rigged. I mean, I'm so sick of this guy at this point. I'm just so sick of the lies and the deceit and how many stupid people in this country that believe every word this orange orangutan says. I've had it. And he's the one who again says, well, I got to tell you, a lot of people are saying. I mean, it's ridiculous. Instead of any responsible person that would say, no, you can't run for a 3rd term. It's against our Constitution. That's not going to happen. I'm not worried about that. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Bill Maher anymore. But he was right back then when he said Donald Trump's not going to want to leave the White House. Then we had something called January 6th. What's going to happen in 3.5 years? I am not putting against this guy. He's not going to want to leave. So I think we do have to take what he says seriously. Unfortunately, as sad as it might be, as pathetic as he is, and how dangerous his words are, we have to take what he says seriously. When he says he might seriously consider running for a third term, what could that mean? You know, forget about the Constitution. Forget about the history of this country. No one able to do that. Is he going to run as vice president? You know, I mean, he'll find a way. So we have to take that very seriously. He wants to avoid jail time, and this maybe will be his way of doing it. I don't know. But we have to take it seriously. And then again, there's Caroline Leavitt today, and I've been talking about this story for a very long time. These 267 alleged gang members that were sent to El Salvador. And the only evidence that the White House has put forth that they're gang members is they, quote, have tattoos, certain tattoos. And we've learned that there are some people that have no criminal records at all. And some of their family members have hired attorneys. They were sent to one of the highest maximum security prisons in the world. But as long as they're illegal, even if they don't have hard evidence and don't give people due process, just send them to this jail in El Salvador. And you have a very responsible journalist asking Caroline Leavitt that question today. You know, looking at the court documents, which is this reporter did his due diligence and is doing so. He reads the court documents and the criteria of why they think these are all gang members, which are absurd. And in that criteria are tattoos and other things. You're not giving these human beings due process. And the journalist, it's an unbelievable exchange because it goes to show you where we're at now with the Trump administration, where you have a reporter asking a very good question based on a court document, and then you have Caroline Leavitt attacking the reporter for asking the question. You could hear this reporter getting frustrated, as I would as well. Listen to this exchange because it's unbelievable.
The validation guide the DHS is using to determine who is an enemy alien, a Tren de Aragua member, and deportable under the Enemy Aliens Act, it has criteria here that require 8 points to be classified as a TDA member. You can get classified by simply having certain symbols in your tattoos and wearing certain streetwear brands. That alone is enough to get someone classified as TDA and sent to El Salvador.
That's not true, actually, Andrew.
According to this document,
it is.
No, according to the Department of Homeland Security and the agents, have you talked to the agents who have been putting their lives on the line to detain these foreign terrorists who have been terrorizing our communities? TDA is a vicious gang that has taken the lives of American women.
So, first of all, we'll continue the clip. The question wasn't about the agents that are putting their lives on the line. Do you notice how she deflects? And she pivots. The question wasn't about the agents. The question was specifically about the criteria of why you put all these men in El Salvador and claim that they're all gang members. The question wasn't about the ICE, wasn't about the people who detained them. Why is she deflecting? Why is she not answering the question directly?
Lives of American women, and our agents on the front lines take deporting these people with the utmost seriousness, and there is a litany of criteria that they use to ensure that these individuals qualify as foreign terrorists and to ensure that they qualify for deportation. And the president made it incredibly clear to the American public that there would be a mass deportation campaign of not just foreign terrorists, but also illegal criminal aliens who have been wreaking havoc on American communities. And shame on you and shame on the mainstream media for trying to cover for these individuals who have. This is a vicious gang, Andrew. This is a vicious gang that has taken the lives of American women.
The government filed in court, which says all.
And you said yourself there are 8 criteria on that document.
They need 8 points.
And you are questioning the credibility of these agents who are putting their life on the line to protect your life and the life of everybody in this group and everybody across the country. And their credibility should be questioned. They finally have a president who is allowing them to do their jobs, and God bless them for doing it.
There she goes again with God. That fake Christian bimbo bitch. That's what she is. And then you want to talk about agents. The question wasn't about the agents making the arrest. That had nothing to do with it. The question had to do with the criteria that the White House is putting forth and the 8 points that were in this court document where that journalist, and you could hear him getting frustrated. I don't blame him. And she starts attacking the journalist for asking what is a very fair question. You can just deport somebody if they're undocumented. That's one thing. But deport them and send them to an El Salvador prison, one of the highest maximum security prison, where I would say murderers and rapists probably belong, not somebody who is undocumented without due process. That's exactly what the White House has done, and Caroline Leavitt does not answer the question. She's an idiot. She doesn't even know what this document says. She has no idea what's in this court document. She has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. She does not do her homework, and she just speaks to Donald Trump on a daily basis, and he feeds her words, and the bimbo gets up there and speaks in front of the media like the moron that she is, and this is what we have to deal with for the next 3.5 years. Now, you could make the argument that Caroline Leavitt will probably not last that long. I mean, she'll probably last a little longer than Donald Trump did with Stormy Daniels, but that's another story for another show. And then Caroline Leavitt is asked about Signalgate, and they want this story to go away. Virtually everybody in Donald Trump's administration has lied about Signalgate. They said it wasn't classified information. They've attacked the journalist. Again, the same playbook. Attack the messenger, right? Attack this journalist, Mr. Goldberg, who did absolutely nothing wrong. And again, listen to the answer that Caroline Leavitt says. She just wants this story to go away, doesn't even want to answer questions about it. Have a listen to this.
As you said last week, Caroline, you said there would be an investigation or a review into how Jeffrey Goldberg's number got on that group chat. What's the status of that review, and what is the status of National Security Advisor Mike Waltz?
As the president has made it very clear, Mike Waltz continues to be an important part of his national security team, and this case has been closed here at the White House as far as we are concerned. There have been steps made to ensure that something like that can obviously never happen again, and we're moving forward. And the president and Mike Waltz and his entire national security team have been working together very well. If you look at how much safer the United States of America is because of the leadership of this team.
Yeah, we're so much safer now because of Donald Trump. Yeah, we're so much safer. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that, you idiot. Nothing to see here, everybody. We'll just make sure it doesn't happen again. But it wasn't classified information. Nothing to see here. But let's talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. Let's talk about Hillary Clinton's emails. Let's talk about Benghazi. Let's talk about all that stuff. Let's talk about the birther issue again. But hey, nothing to see here, everybody. It's been a week, so, let's just move on. You frickin' moron. You bimbo bitch you. That's what you are. That's what you are. You lying bimbo, fake Christian, excuse for a human being. That is what you are. You're no better than Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You both are in the same crew as far as I'm concerned. You're despicable fake Christians and hypocrites who support a liable, sexually abusing, adjudicated rapist, 34-count felon who puts on his 8 layers of orange makeup every day, similar to the color of this hat, by the way. He looking like the clown that he is with his 4 hair transplants, his fake teeth, his fake tan. I got to tell you, if you have a tan in the shade of Donald Trump's fake tan, they'll probably deport you very soon. And then there's Elon Musk. Elon Musk, again, on a stage, speaking to some of his supporters and some of his fans. And he's asked a very important question by one of his supporters, which is, when are we getting those Doge checks? When are those Doge checks going to come in the mail? Have a listen to this imbecile's answer.
I just want to say that Doge's findings demonstrate to the American people that the government clearly does not care about our hard-earned tax dollars. I'm only 26, but I can imagine it's frustrating for people who have worked their entire lives to see their tax dollars going to fraud, waste, and abuse. And you alone have contributed so much money to our government
yes.
via taxes, so thank you.
You're welcome.
But I'm sorry that your money's not being spent very well. You've clearly shown your leadership and team is capable of transforming our government into something better than what we see today. I just want to say I'm sure I'm not the only one who's wondering, but we know that Doge has found quite a bit of money, and we would like to see some of that returned to the American people. Do you have any information on when Doge checks would be written or sent out?
Sure. Well, I guess we need to be successful at scale. We've made a lot of progress, but there's still a tremendous amount of work to do. Effectively, as government spending is made more efficient and spending is reduced, the tax by inflation is reduced. One way or another, you will effectively be better off if resources in the United States are not wasted.
When are you getting the check?
So
when are you getting the check?
It's somewhat up to the Congress and maybe the president to as to whether specific checks are cut.
Yeah.
Whether
the
check is cut or not, if you reduce wasteful spending, the economy is going to be better off. There will be people will do more useful jobs than before. The total output of goods and services will increase, and then the average standard of living will increase.
Interesting. Did you guys hear any specifics on when they're getting these Doge checks? It's funny, I didn't hear that. That was an Elon Musk stuttering word salad. That's what I would call it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it was. I'll interpret for you to the bumbling fool. You're not getting checks. And if you do get a check, it might be under $10. You're not getting a $5,000 check. And if you're one of those imbeciles that think you're getting a $5,000 check from Elon Musk and Doge, then chances are you're probably an imbecile that thinks Donald Trump won the 2020 election. And you're probably an imbecile that buys the Donald Trump Bibles and buys the Donald Trump sneakers. You're a cult member and you're a moron and you're a sucker. That's the interpretation of. Is it just me or does he sound like Ozzy Osbourne? He's starting to sound like Ozzy by the day. Anyway, to talk a little bit more about this and what a crazy news weekend it was. So happy to have the former presidential candidate and former congressman out of Chicago, my friend Joe Walsh, joining us right now on the show. Joe, it is always a pleasure to have you on, my friend. How are you?
Brian, right back at you. Good to be with you, sir.
I appreciate you, Joe. All right, so let me start by asking you that question, which is, what do you make of the MAGA people out there that expect to be getting a $5,000 check from Doge? What would you say to them?
I don't believe a thing Elon Musk says. When I engage with Trump supporters, and I do every day, I say the same thing. Elon Musk is lying to you just like Donald Trump lied to you. I feel sorry for you that Elon Musk lies to you. I feel sorry for you, Trump supporter, that Trump lies to you. But eventually, it's your responsibility. Brian, it's like Peter Navarro over the weekend, Trump's whatever, came out and actually said tariffs are tax cuts. Tariffs are tax cuts. If you believe that, then I love you, brother, but it's on you.
Agree. Do you take any credence to the fact that Donald Trump alluding again over the weekend that he would consider a third term? We know that's against the Constitution, Joe, the 22nd Amendment. But do you think we should continue to talk about this and take what Donald Trump says seriously when he says things like that?
Hell yes. I get so pissed off, Brian. People saying, Joe, it's just a distraction. It's a joke. No, I'm sorry. When he said he won the 2020 election, and we were told to just ignore stuff like that. It's just a joke. It's a distraction. And then January 6th happened. No, this is an attack on democracy. I know Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth. Are important lies because these are attacks on democracy. He lost an election and said he won. That's an attack on democracy. He just said yesterday that he can ignore the Constitution and run again. That's a lie, and that's an attack on democracy. Yeah. And doggone it, Democrats and other people better not just look the other way on this stuff.
Agree. I completely, and I echoed what you just said a few moments ago before you came on. Another interesting turn. Now Donald Trump saying publicly that he's, quote, pissed off at Vladimir Putin. What do you make of that?
I don't believe a thing Donald Trump says. Donald Trump is a Russian asset. Donald Trump works for Vladimir Putin. Everything he's said and done for the past 11 or 12 years is exactly what Putin wants him to do. So what Donald Trump wants more than anything right now is to end this war on behalf of Russia and Putin. So, no, because he's president, Brian, right now America is the enemy of the free world. What a horrible position to be in.
I completely agree with that as well. I didn't really get your thoughts because I haven't spoken to you in a little bit about Signalgate And the fact that Caroline Leavitt today in front of the White House holding a press conference, they just want it to go away. Nothing to see here. We'll make sure it doesn't happen again. You've got virtually almost everybody saying it wasn't classified information. Listen, you were a congressman. You've been in classified meetings. You know what classified information is, Joe. Wasn't that classified information? And if it wasn't, then somebody made a mistake, right?
Yes, it was classified information. That's basically been acknowledged. That will be proven. Look, Brian, you know, like I know, that this was a major security breach. Hegseth and Walls and the rest of them, they're unserious people. It's not a surprise they're in the position they're in because Donald Trump is unserious when it comes to our national security. But I do think this issue sticks. I think this issue is hurting Trump politically because I really do think regular people get it. It's national security. Our fighter pilots' lives could have been in jeopardy because of what Hegseth and the other frat boys did. I think the American people get this.
Do you think there's going to be any accountability? Obviously, Michael Waltz lied to Donald Trump when he said he didn't know this guy Goldberg. We know that's a lie. One thing I will say about Trump, if you do him wrong or he thinks, he's very vindictive, are you surprised that Waltz is still in that position? And what do you think happens down the road here?
No accountability because again, I hate to always be simplistic, Brian, but like Donald Trump has never, ever, 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 ever been held accountable for anything he's done wrong his entire life. So why would he hold anyone else accountable? And what makes me so sad, Brian, is all of my former Republican colleagues, they've learned from Trump. When you're caught doing something wrong, do not acknowledge it, do not admit it, never say you did wrong, never say you're sorry. Lie, attack. That's basically been what these guys have done. I think Trump's fine with that. So I don't think we'll see any heads roll.
Final question for you, Joe. Are you getting exhausted? I mean, I'm getting exhausted with having to cover this man every day and the things he says and the things he does. I mean, you're all over the place. You're on CNN. You're everywhere. And every single day, it seems like it's something new with this guy, and it's something that could harm the country, whether it's sending alleged gang members to El Salvador with no due process, whether it's 25% tariffs, whether he says he wants to run a third term, whether it's pardoning a bunch of January 6th insurrectionists. It seems like every day it's something that's harming this country, Joe. I mean, you get exhausted having to cover this guy every day.
I'm like you, my friend. Yes, I got to pace ourselves. But these are unprecedented times. I'm driving back I was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania this afternoon, talking to a politically diverse group of 30 to 40 local folks in Lancaster. And we were talking about this very subject. How do you resist? How do each of us resist in our own circles, our own spheres of influence, and pace ourselves? And we've got to do it. And we, you know what, Brian, and you and I have bigger platforms than most, but we can't do everything. Like, I want to stop Trump and I want the Democrats to take back the House and blah, blah, blah. We've got to focus on things we can do. And people listening to you and me right now, focus on your little circle, your little group, your family, your community, and just try to change hearts and minds and put truth in front of those people. That's what we all got to do.
Amen, brother. Before I let you go, who you got coming up on your podcast? I love your podcast. Who you got next?
Oh, baby. I've got two wonderful women this week who are experts at how to sit down and engage with people that you really disagree with. Because even though, Brian, you and I, right, we're resisting, we still got to reach across and at least engage with everybody and not hate everybody. So two great psychologists on this week who are going to help us learn how to do that.
That sounds really interesting. Joe, I love you, brother. And tell your good friend Mehdi Hassan I said hello, okay?
I deserve that. Thanks, Brian.
Joe, I love you. Have a good one, my friend.
Thanks,
That's
man.
Joe Walsh, everybody. He's the best. I love Joe. Joe's been doing my show for like 5-6 years, man. And he's always great. He's always great. He does have a great podcast, too, by the way. And he speaks truth to power. And I love that. Joe's incredible. Yeah, Mehdi Hassan was very disrespectful to him. You know, people can say what they want about Mehdi Hassan. Mehdi Hassan's not a dumb guy. Mehdi Hassan's very intelligent. He's a very good debater. I don't always agree with him, but I thought he was very disrespectful to Joe Walsh a few weeks ago when Joe came on his show. So anyway, Joe Walsh, everybody, appreciate him coming on. So listen, I want to hear from you. Before we get there, I want to remind everybody in the YouTube Super Chat, your questions and comments will be heard. Also, my website, which is pushingthelimits.live, where you can make donations there. I want to thank Jennifer Ward, who made a $26 donation. And if you go on my website, you're also entered into that contest. Jennifer's already in there for the possibility to do a 15-minute segment with me. We pick one person per month with a $25 minimum donation to do that. So Jennifer is automatically entered in there. So here's what we are going to do. We are going to take some phone calls when we come back. There's a lot to get to, a lot to talk about, and some of the topics that we've discussed. Of course, it seems like Signalgate is in the rearview mirror now. At least that's the way MAGA would like it. But I want to ask you guys, do you think we should take it seriously when Donald Trump says he wants to run for a third term or would consider running for a third term? I have a cure for that, and I'm going to give you my explanation for it when we come back. What will stop Donald Trump from even making that statement. So I'll explain that when we come back. I also want to thank our sponsors of this segment, which is Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. They are home of the $20 ribeye. And I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the best ribeyes you'll have in Las Vegas. It is fantastic. They haven't changed the price in 8 years. And it comes with vegetables and a side. It is incredible. It's a great bar, great atmosphere there at Jackson's. Please check them out and tell them I sent you. Home of the $20 ribeye. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to take your phone calls at 702-221-7283. And again, that number, the most interactive show you will find in the Valley, 702-221-7283. And again, 702-221-SAVE. Should we be taking Donald Trump seriously when he says he would consider, running for a third term? Should you take that seriously? I am. I want to know your thoughts on that. Of course, we're still talking about the fallout for Signalgate and the fact that Donald Trump is now saying he's, quote, pissed off at Vladimir Putin. So we're taking your calls next. We'll be right back after this in about 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits with your phone calls right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Programming note for you. That's right, the man himself. We've become friends. David Pakman's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. I love David. And he has a new book that's out. So I want to promote that. And David's nice enough to be joining us on the show tomorrow. Aaron Rupert's going to be joining us on the show Wednesday. And we have some more very special guests joining us. I don't think that MAGA porn star Rochelle Ryan's going to be joining us back on the show. I don't think she enjoyed having to defend her orange turd leader, Donald Trump. And I'm totally okay with that. I was very nice to her. She left a little upset. And, I can only treat people with respect. And if you call yourself a MAGA porn star and you're on Fox News and then people question you and ask you why you support Donald Trump and you're not capable of answering those questions, you get upset, then don't label yourself a MAGA porn star. So I'll leave it at that. So I've been talking a lot about security breaches on this show. We talked about the X security breach where they got hacked, right? I think a few weeks ago I talked about the Bank of America security breach as well, where people got your personal information. This sponsor of the show is Aura. And Aura is the smart and simple way to stay safe online and to protect your family from fraud. Nobody wants to be a victim of fraud. And as I just mentioned, digital safety is so important, right? You don't want big companies with poor security to be hacked. That's not a good thing. And we've all been, I think most of us have been victims of online threats and fraud. It's terrible. It's an awful feeling. Here's the best part. Aura, because you're a loyal listener of PTL, and I want to take care of my listeners here, on the bottom of the screen, if you use that link there, you're going to get a 14-day free trial, no risk. You will be amazed on what they can find. Just give them a try. Support our sponsors. And Aura is a great sponsor of our show. Please check them out and tell them that I sent you. Try that link right there. 14-day free trial for just being a listener of the show. Aura.com/PTL. I did promise you we would get right to the phone calls. As usual, our phone lines are always full. It's funny. We started this show with 4 phone lines, and we had to get extra phone lines because of the high demand. So that's why I say, we rely on people like you. We want your voices to be heard here. So we want to know, should we take what Donald Trump says seriously? Maybe there are some MAGA supporters out there that don't take what he says seriously. Maybe we should. For anybody out there, when he says he would consider running for a 3rd term, should we take that seriously? All right, here we go. We're going to go down the line here. Let's go with Kowalski. Kowalski, I'm not sure where you're calling from, Kowalski. Where are you calling from?
California. How you doing, Super Soul?
Hey, what's up, Kowalski? How you doing? What's on your mind? What do you think? Should we take Trump's words seriously?
Well, give me a minute to break this down, and I think everybody will understand what I'm saying a lot more holistically. So remember how Donald Trump, even before he was president, he claimed that there was going to be fraud, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how long before he was president, and he kept claiming it, even when he was president, right? And he kept claiming. And then we look at, remember, January 6th, okay, that event. Well, he's going to do the same thing with running for a 3rd term.
Yeah, I hear where you're going with that. My personal opinion, Kowalski, is I think he'll run as vice president. That's what I think.
I don't even think he'll necessarily do that. I don't think he wants to be backseat to anybody. He's not that kind of a person.
I understand,
and the other thing is the
how
way
does he do that?
Seeing this
how does he do
happen.
that? How does he do that, though? I'm sorry to interrupt you. How does he do that, though, when our Constitution? Well, he has broken the Constitution already.
He's right. He's going to attack it much earlier.
Right.
He's going to be sicking his sycophants on all kinds of institutions, judges, everybody that he possibly can to try and push his way into it. He'll even bring up fraudulent information and try and just hold it up in court until the election happens. Remember, that's how he works.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that's out of the question. So, it's very possible.
I've already calculated a lot of it, and it's pretty much the way it goes. And he'll do this for one of 3 reasons. One is he's going to use it as an opportunity to flee.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The other way is he's actually using it as an opportunity to try and stay in power. And the third reason that he'd be doing it is because he hates all of us, and he wants to see things burn. Right. I don't think people understand. The reasons you're not going to see anybody held to account for the Signalgate is very simply he likes seeing everybody screwed up and scared and afraid. He likes seeing people hurt. He doesn't want you to feel good. Not even his followers. You look at all the red states, it's like he's almost kind of aimed attacks at destroying their livelihood.
So Kowalski, I agree with you, and I think you're right. And listen, Donald Trump cares about himself. All he wants to do is feed his face with burgers, and play golf every day, and have beautiful blondes around him that are not very intelligent. My producer just said he wants that as well. Fair point. But Yeah, I mean, a Caroline Convet can go fly a kite as far as I'm concerned, but I understand where my producer's coming from on that one. Thank you for the call, Kowalski. 702-221-7283. You know what? Why don't we go to Cyrus next? Cyrus is calling right here in Las Vegas. What's up, Cyrus?
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'd like to talk about the Nevada legislature, if it's okay, or you can just do it another day.
Don't really want to go with the Nevada legislature. I don't want to be disrespectful, but certainly want to remain on topic with some of the national stories, if that's okay, Cyrus. So let me ask you this. Do you think we should take Donald Trump's word seriously when he says he would consider running for a third term? If I can ask you that, if that's okay.
Yeah. I think he's going to push it. Yeah.
So you think we should take what he says seriously?
Yeah. I mean, why would he bring it up? You think he's just joking, or he's trying to?
Well, I agree with you.
People fired up.
Listen,
pop a bubble.
I agree with you. I will ask you a Nevada political question because this is a national story. I do want to get your thoughts on this, Cyrus, if that's okay. So, you had that GOP funding bill, and we had 8 Democrats that voted for the bill. One of those people who voted for the bill, as you know, is a woman by the name of Catherine Cortez Mastow.
Yeah.
You live here in Las Vegas, so while it's a local question, it's also a national. Yeah, give us your thoughts on that. Why do you think she did that? What are your thoughts?
That's a very good question. I think the same reason with Chuck Schumer. I just thought that voting no would probably do more harm than good. It's very hard to say. It's just a lot of people feel betrayed, and my issue with these people is they never have like town halls. They never meet with the people except for like Dina Titus. She had one last week or two, and I thanked her for that.
Dina Titus. Dina Titus. I like Dina Titus.
Yeah,
I'm very.
I could care less.
Yeah.
If I disagree with her, but
yeah.
People I would say the thing that's more important than campaign donor limits or term limits is people got to meet up with the people, the politicians.
Well, Republicans don't want to do that, my friend. Cyrus, it's good to hear from you. Maybe we can talk about the Nevada legislature another time, my friend. But there are a lot of Republicans across the country that do not want to go to these town halls anymore because they're being held to account. And I give those people credit for showing up. Democrats are doing it. Why aren't Republicans doing it? Geez, I wonder why that is, because they can't defend the orange herd. They can't defend Mr. Orange Orangutan anymore because a lot of the stuff he's done just in the first 2 months here of this administration is indefensible. Not giving people due process, 25% tariffs, Signalgate, nobody being held accountable, nothing to see here. It's a joke. Thank you for the call, my friend. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Richard, who's calling out of Virginia. Hey, Richard, what's going on?
Yeah, my name's Richard. I'm in West Virginia. And just want to answer your question that you posed about him running for a third term.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, he'll do it because the Democrats are so weak. He'll win, too, because the Democrats are so weak. They got nobody. They got nothing.
Well, can I ask you something? So
Yes,
I do agree that there are a lot of Democrats these days that are weak. I don't necessarily disagree with you. But I do think there are some Democrats that are strong. But I'm just going to pose this because what do you think about this? If Donald Trump wants to float the idea of running for a third term, then I think Barack Obama should hold a press conference and say, I'll be running against Donald Trump. I'm being serious. If he wants to break our law and our Constitution, then go ahead and let Barack Obama run again. If that's Donald Trump's game plan, I'm being serious.
Yeah, I think if Barack Obama would run, he would lose and get his ass handed to him.
Why do you say that?
If Bernie Sanders would run and they would let him win without cheating, he would destroy Donald Trump. Obama, he's a joke. Obama's a joke.
Why do you say Obama's a joke?
Just another Trump. He's just another Trump.
Okay, hold on.
He's another Trump.
All right, let's talk about that. I heard you the first time. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
So has Barack Obama ever been a convicted felon? Has he ever been charged with a crime?
No, he killed a 16-year-old.
No, he didn't. No, he's never been charged with it. The answer is no. Sir. Sir, I need you to answer my question, okay? Has he ever been convicted or charged with a crime? That was my only question.
Not that I know of.
Okay,
no.
You're right. You're correct, sir. So the answer is no. Has Barack Obama, to your knowledge, ever cheated on any woman in his life or be found liable for sexual abuse?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know. Okay, correct, sir, because the answer is no. Has Barack Obama ever said he didn't respect a POW because they were captured?
Not that I know.
I agree.
No,
I agree.
they're
I agree,
pretty
sir.
Easy questions.
I agree.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
easy. They are easy. Does
Yeah.
Barack Obama have 5 kids with 3 different women?
No, I mean,
Yeah, he hasn't.
easy questions.
Has Barack
No.
Obama ever attacked a woman based on looks or called people suckers and losers that served in the military?
No,
he
he's
hasn't.
never done
Okay,
none of
so we agree. So why would you compare the two and say they're the same? Give me one example of how you think.
Because he's done nothing for working people. When he had a chance, he could have. He sold out the Goldman Sachs. When he said he was going to, his hope and change, but there was no hope and there was no change.
All right, well, let me ask you this then.
Sold out to all the special interests.
All right, well, let's talk about that.
That's where he was bad.
Okay, so I'm happy to talk to you about that. Let's talk about taxes. I'm not saying Barack Obama was perfect, but who had the biggest tax breaks for the rich, Barack Obama or Donald Trump?
Well, Bush or Trump.
No, but hold on. Let's just.
Yeah.
I hear you, sir, but let's just talk about Trump and Obama because I think it's an interesting conversation. Who had the biggest tax breaks for the rich, and who had the biggest tax cuts? Comparing Trump and Obama when it comes to the tax plans, who had the biggest tax breaks for the rich?
That's a tough one.
No, it's not.
Obama bailed out the banks.
With respect,
he bailed out the banks with my tax money.
Okay, but with respect, sir, Donald Trump had the biggest top 1% tax breaks for the rich. So while I understand,
let's take Obama out. Let's put Bernie in there.
Well, but hold on.
Why did they cheat Bernie?
Okay,
if anybody got cheated,
I'll get
it
to
was
that.
Bernie.
I'll get to that, sir. I'm happy to have that conversation with you, but I just want to go back
He
to
would
what
be
you said.
the greatest president ever.
Okay, I'm happy to. I like Bernie.
He would blow Obama away, blow Trump
Okay, but
away,
hold on.
blow anybody.
Okay, I hear you. I hear that's your opinions on Bernie, and I like Bernie. I'll get to that with you. But you made a correlation that I respectfully disagree with you on. Barack Obama's a good family man. He's a good husband. He's a very educated man.
None of that.
Okay, but you're comparing the two because you think Obama maybe didn't do enough for middle-class America, and you're entitled to your opinion. But, sir, make no mistake about it. There is no comparison between the character and
Moral-wise, yeah, okay, I'll agree with you. Moral-wise, but ethics, they both don't have no ethics.
But what crime did he commit? When you say ethics, Donald Trump is a 34-count felon.
Crime. He destroyed the middle class. He sold out to Wall Street. He sold out to the military-industrial complex.
I mean, when he took
sold
over.
out to
all right, well, let me ask you this then. When he took over the economy and when he left the economy 8 years later, was it better or worse? By every standard.
I'll say by my standards, it was worse.
It's not true.
It was never good.
Sir.
The economy was never good for the last 50 years.
Okay. So, sir, that's a different question. But I disagree with you, and this is more of a factual thing than an opinion. When Barack Obama took over our economy, unemployment rate was much higher than it was when he left.
That unemployment is just a false number.
Okay, so numbers don't count.
Not that number.
Not that number.
One, no.
Okay, well, the economy by almost every standard was in a
25%.
better.
That's what the unemployment rate is, 25% right now.
Okay.
That's what it was under Biden, and that's
the unemployment rate.
Was.
The unemployment rate was around 4% when Joe Biden left office.
That's bull. That's not real.
Okay,
that's not
but
real
how can
jobs.
I have,
that's
sir,
part-time jobs?
Sir, how can I have
everything?
How can I have a good faith conversation? You seem like a nice guy. How could I have a good faith?
Yeah, I can have a conversation.
I know,
with you.
but
I don't want to argue with you.
No, I appreciate that, but how could I have a good faith conversation with you when the numbers?
I can. That number's not real. You know it as well as I do. They
okay,
don't
where's
real unemployment into account where people are working 2 jobs and stuff, sir.
So unemployment numbers are fake. They're not real.
Them ones are, yeah. That number is not a true number.
Them ones are not
real. Proven by real economists like Richard Wolff and everyone else.
Well, listen, sir,
I
completely disagree with you on Barack.
Okay, that's fine.
Barack Obama versus.
I'm right.
Well, no, I think you're wrong, sir. You have an opinion that you don't think the numbers are correct. I disagree with you, and I think you're wrong. Did you vote?
Obama's the worst president. The only thing he was he was black. That's the only thing he got going for him. He was the first black president.
Sir,
That's it.
Sir,
That's all he ever done.
Hold on. The only thing that Barack Obama has ever had going for him is that he's black. Did you just say that?
No, I'm saying he was the first black president.
You just said.
That's all he accomplished.
Hold on.
That's all he accomplished.
Hold on. Pod him down. I am happy to have a good faith conversation with you, but you just said on my show, quote, the only thing Obama's got going for him is that he's black. That's what you just said. That is a racist statement. That is a bigoted statement in nature. The man has a degree from Harvard. He has a law degree. He's a brilliant man, a good husband, a good father. And how dare you say the only thing Barack Obama had? That's what you said. Okay, now if you misspoke and you want to retract, you can go ahead and you can do that. But I am not going to tolerate racism on this show. You just said, the only thing that he has going for him is he's black. That's what you just said. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So either own it or retract.
Let me say what I said. I said when he looks in the mirror, the only thing he could say is I was the first black president.
That's not
the accomplished
and
nothing
okay.
else.
Well, listen.
That's
If you
not
don't
racist.
like, if you
I'm
don't,
not racist
if
one
you don't,
bit.
well, you keep focusing on his race. I didn't bring it up. You keep bringing up the fact that he's black. And let me tell you something. When Barack Obama looks in the mirror, he probably sees a pretty good-looking man that became president of the United States. And you know what, sir? Since you want to bring up race, not me, I think that's a pretty damn good accomplishment. Is that what you think Kamala Harris is too, sir? You think she looks...
Kamala Harris is a bum. She couldn't even win her own...
Are you a Klan member, sir? Because I noticed you haven't said anything attacking Donald Trump, but you've attacked two black people. I'm wondering if there's a correlation there, sir. Do you have a problem with black people? Do you have answer the question? Do you have a problem with black people?
No.
Oh, you don't? Then why is it the two people that you've attacked in this conversation happen to be black? You haven't said anything negative about Donald Trump, who happens to be orange or white. You haven't criticized Trump at all. You compared Trump to Obama, which is probably the dumbest comparison I've ever heard in my life. And you said on this show, I'm going to make you famous, sir. You said on this show, the only thing Obama's got going for him is he's black. I think the only thing that you got going for you is your hoodie, is your white hoodie. Why don't you admit you're a racist, sir? Say it on the air right now. I'm a racist, and I use the N-word. Why don't you say that right now? No, yeah. You're the one who injected race. You're the one who said the only thing Obama's got going for him is, let me tell you something, sir. You don't have anything going for you. You're crap for brains. You know what? I don't want to keep you on any longer, sir, because I think you're going to be late to your Klan rally tonight. Your racism is showing. You've proven that in this conversation. I tried to have a good faith conversation with you, and how dare you say the only thing Obama's got going from is he's black. Barack Obama's got more integrity and intelligence in his pinky than you have in your whole body. Why don't you admit that? Barack Obama is a brilliant, don't you okay me? Barack Obama is a brilliant man. I'm happy to have conversations and respectful ones with people that I disagree with. But you are not going to come on this show and say the only thing Obama's got going for him is he's black. That's exactly what you said. You know why? Because that's the way you think. That's the way you think. What do you think about George Floyd? Chauvin should be pardoned, shouldn't he, sir?
George Bush was a goddamn idiot.
Okay, I didn't ask you. You know what? I think you're a goddamn idiot. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Really care
yeah,
what
I
you
know.
think.
I
You
know.
can
Why
tell
don't you
me
go?
that
Why don't you go back into your mobile home, go see your dentist, and get your fourth tooth, and have a nice day? You are a bigot. The only thing Obama's got going for him is he's black. Screw you. You bigot fool, you. That's what you are. You're a fool, and you just exposed yourself. Not in the way Lauren Boebert's ex-husband exposed himself, although I wouldn't be surprised if you've done that too. You have a problem with black people. And then you try to defend yourself by saying, well, that George W. Bush, he's an idiot too. No, you didn't save yourself, sir. You didn't save yourself. Barack Obama, the only thing he's got going for him is he's black. You are a racist. And I can guarantee my audience that you voted for Donald Trump. So why don't you go take a hike, sir? You and your Confederate flag. You bastard, you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. He exposed himself. The only thing Obama's got going for him is he's black. What a douchebag. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Chrissy. Chrissy's is calling out of Las Vegas. What's up, Chrissy?
Hey, Brian. I just like off topic last week. I wasn't able to get to call, so I wanted to share something with you and your audience. A few people called last week expressing, the whole election concerns, and we're not going to get into the weeds of that. But what I did want to suggest is that people check out a website called Election Truth Alliance, and it's not about changing any results. It's just about asking for an audit, because if there was any shenanigans, we should know. And so they're not trying to change the outcome, but I just wanted to share this with people. They can read about what they're doing. They're doing really good work, but it is all donations.
I hear
We,
you.
the people, are paying for this.
I hear you. But with respect, that being said, Trump is going to be our president for the next 3.5 years, unless something happens to him. He's going to be our president for the next.
That's why I said they're not changing it.
Exactly.
They're not changing the outcome.
Right.
They just want an audit, not a recount.
Yeah,
an audit.
Okay, I hear you, but I think that energy should be used towards trying to have a better midterms and making sure a MAGA Republican never gets back into office as president of the United States.
I don't disagree, but if there was something going on, we're not going to have midterms that are free.
Yeah, I understand that. If someone can show me evidence that, quote, something was going on, then I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. But I think we need to focus on maybe we could do both at the same time. I'm not trying to rain on your parade. I just think there are better things that Democrats could be doing these days. I want to go quickly to the super chat, if I may. I sell used tires. Said, yeah, that guy definitely has a banjo playing in his head 24/7. Yeah, prove me wrong. No, I'm not going to prove you wrong because I think you're right, by the way. Thank you for your donation. And you're also entered into our contest in April to guest host a segment with me on the show. Thank you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Thank you, Tinker, for your donation. Appreciate that. Thank you, Tarika M, for your donation. We appreciate you very, very much so. 702-221-7283 is the number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's see here. Let's go to Steve. He's calling out of Illinois. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, how's it going, Brian? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
As with Trump pondering a third term, it is interesting that he ponders that. I'm not surprised. I don't think it will happen because of his age and health. I do, however, see him trying to get, one of his sons, which would be just as worse, in my opinion. And it's just, I think it's really embarrassing right now, this country, with Trump and his supporters. And I don't think Trump is the most dangerous guy there is out there.
Yeah.
His supporters are very gullible, and they would do anything to try to get Trump a third term or one of his sons in there for 2028.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't trust the MAGA Republicans on this. So
I don't trust MAGA Republicans for anything. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't. They want to take away Social Security. They want to take away Medicare. They want the biggest tax breaks for the rich. And they think the only thing Barack Obama has going for him is he's black. I mean, how do you have a conversation with somebody? I knew it was just a matter of time before that idiot exposed himself for being the racist that he is. But, eventually they show their true colors. It's kind of like when somebody gets drunk, right? When somebody gets drunk and you see their true colors, like Mel Gibson. Obviously, Mel Gibson is a racist and an anti-Semite, right? He uses the N-word in the past and horrible comments about Jewish people. And his excuse is, well, I was an alcoholic. No. I know a lot of people that when they get drunk, they're happy drunks, that the real person really comes out. There's, when you spew racist terms out when you're drunk, that's the way you really think. I always believe that. And eventually you can expose these MAGA morons as being who they are. Many of them bigots and just bad people.
Yeah, just like Pete Hegseth. I'm sure whenever he's drunk, he'll say a few things.
Probably. Maybe he was drunk on the Signal chat.
He's a DUI hire.
Oh, no question. No question. Yeah. Matt Gaetz would have been a DUI hire. I agree with you, sir, and I appreciate your call. Thank you, Reaver, for your donation, by the way. Says people forget that when the government bailed out the banks in 2008, it was Bush who was president. Also, the banks had to pay the government back every penny in interest, $15.3 billion worth. Well, Reaver, you're 100% correct. But to a racist, bigot, MAGA supporter who calls into the show, they don't know how to spell the word fact. So I agree with you. Point well taken. Let's go to Damon calling in Las Vegas. Damon's next on PTL. Hey, Damon, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Brian? How you doing, man?
Good. What's on your mind?
I'm just calling, man. Calm down, dude. You where I've been. The only reason I haven't been calling in because I've been so pissed off every day. Is one thing after another. You can't catch your breath. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I would have been able to watch my mouth, Brian. I would have been swearing and I'd have broke some FCC codes or something. Seriously. I can't deal with it. I mean, little stuff like just Elon Musk. We got, like, Elon Musk to me, he Forrest Gump that was born rich. You know what I'm saying? He fell into all the money he got and he had so much help along the way. My thing is, why would I don't even want to get into it, Brian, because all they do is make me mad. I'm just saying, calm down, brother. Keep it going. I've been watching every day, and I love you.
that.
That's all.
I love you too, Damon, and I appreciate that. The second I calm down is the second I can't give it to these MAGAs. But a point well taken. Excuse me. I calm down when I'm off the air. I calm down on the weekends. This is not the time for me to calm down. I have to be who I am. And if somebody says something so ignorant that Barack Obama, the only thing going for him is he's black, then I'm going to destroy that person. And that's just who I am, Damon. But I appreciate your concern. I really do. 702-221-7283. Why don't we go to Paul? Why don't we go to Paul, who's calling out of California? Hey, Paul, what's going on?
Hey, buddy. Okay, so that caller, the dumb that called, the racist caller. Look, I want to say this in regards to people that call up about the election, about the integrity and it happened. I think we're actually missing the point. We need to look at this from a different perspective. The reality is that this country has never dealt with people like that caller. This country was built on white supremacy, guys running the country. We have never, ever, ever dealt with the original sin of this country. And right now, that's exactly what we're dealing with. And what do you see? You see a lot of people that look like you and me, and they're like, oh, I'm leaving the country. Well, black people didn't have the right to leave the country for 200 years. They were stuck here in slavery. And now white people get a little fraction of what it's like to be black, and now they want to leave the goddamn country instead of staying here and fighting. And that's my biggest gripe with somebody like Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Because she's rich, she's privileged, and what does she do? Rosie O'Donnell looks after Rosie O'Donnell, and she tells everyone else that's not rich, screw you, I'm going to do what's best for me.
Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell.
Really
I don't want to hear from Rosie O'Donnell. I really don't. I don't care if she's living in Ireland or not. Just be quiet and go away. And, the MAGA Republicans, it just gives them an opportunity. Look at Rosie O'Donnell. She's complaining about the election. Yeah, okay. 7 out of 10 Republicans still think Donald Trump won the 2020 election, so you can sit this one out. I was asked that stupid question on the Pierce Morgan show last week, and I gave it to him. I said, Rosie O'Donnell, verbatim. I said, Rosie O'Donnell does not represent the Democrat Party, and I find it very rich that you have a problem with a D-list celebrity who has moved to Ireland, but yet 7 out of 10 Republicans still think that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. Hillary conceded. Kamala Harris conceded. The orange turd leader, who many of these MAGA morons voted for, is the only president in American history that has not conceded an election, and it's why we had something called January 6th. Period.
Yes. Let me say one more thing, and I'll let you go. You're going to see a lot of this until Saturday, about April 5th, about the big march, and there is a group of our black brothers and sisters that aren't going to march because they're tired of it. Let me just give you a 20-second reason why. Let's say you build a house, okay? And somebody moves into the house, the foundation starts to crack, the walls start to chip and peel, the house starts to settle. Is it the homeowner's responsibility to fix the house or the builders that built the foundation of the house, Brian? It's the foundation, right? The people that built the foundation.
Absolutely.
And that's you and me.
Yep.
Because enough of us that look like you and me haven't spoken up. That's exactly why we're here. That's why it's not their thing. They've been fighting this for 200 years. You and I are just getting in the middle of it.
I'm with you, Paul. I'm with you, Paul. The only thing I would say, thank you, Paul. It's good to hear. The only thing I would say is there's not too many people that look like me. There's not many ginger Jews out there. I had to throw that one in there. Thank you for the call, Paul. And thank you, Mike, for your donation. Says, good job, Brian. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate your support. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Valerie. Valerie is calling in from Florida. What's up, Valerie?
Hi. This is my first time hearing you. I was just going through the internet, and I saw you on, and I'm just really just wanting to share something that I feel is so important for this world. I mean, because scripturally in the Bible, in Isaiah 5:20, the Lord said the evil is going to become good, and good has become evil. And we're seeing that so much in this day. I mean, even with the COVID, with our food, everything that is going on in this earth is to destroy. No one is trying to build and to encourage. We're all tearing down.
Yeah.
And the respect of what you're doing, I appreciate it, but to me, I don't see where we're building and trying to bring unity back.
So let me respond to that. Let me respond to that, my dear. So when I'm having a conversation, a good faith conversation with a MAGA supporter, it is possible to have some common ground. But when you're speaking to somebody that is racist, like the caller who called in, or I have no common ground with somebody who is racist. When you're speaking to someone that judges somebody based on sexual orientation or skin color, if you're speaking to somebody that says Donald Trump won the 2020 election, I have no common ground with you because immediately I know that you're not a very intelligent person. You're extremely brainwashed, and I'm not going to change your mind. I can have somewhat intelligent conversations with people, even though I am very disgruntled and very disappointed. That's a nice way of putting it for anybody at this point who still supports Donald Trump. But those are the people at least I could have conversations with. But I can't have a conversation in good faith with somebody who says the earth is flat, right? If Kyrie Irving came into the studio and wanted to have a conversation about geography with me or about the vaccines, I would laugh at him. I would probably say, let's just talk basketball, because nobody's going to take him seriously because he's a great basketball player, but he's a very stupid person. When someone says the 2020 election is stolen or the only thing Barack Obama has going for him is he's black, I can't have a good faith conversation with somebody like that, and I'm going to call him out for who he is. So while there are some people that there can be some unity, I agree with you. There are certain people where it just can't happen. It's not possible. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But you know what I'm saying? We're being lied to so much about the vaccines. Take the vaccine, and it's killing people left and right.
Okay, hold on. Let's backtrack a little bit. So first of all, billions of people, and I don't really want to get into a vaccine conversation, but I will say this. Billions of people have taken the vaccinations. It's saved millions of lives. Now, I'll tell you who I listen to, and this is with respect to you, my dear. You sound like a very nice lady. I listen to my personal physician, and I listen to doctors and people that know my personal information and health. I don't listen to people with no medical credentials. I don't listen to media members. I certainly won't listen to right-wing media. I won't listen to Sean Hannity telling me about vaccines, and I certainly won't listen to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has no medical credentials. I have never told people that they should be forced to get the vaccine, but the vaccines are overwhelmingly safe. It's been proven time and time again. And when my personal physician or infectious disease expert talks to me about vaccines, I listen. I don't listen to people that don't have medical credentials. I say that with respect.
Okay, so why do they hide it? Why do they hide the fact when these people,
Who's they?
Well, you know, when you hear the news, they won't tell you the reason why these people died.
The news is not the news. You know, I don't know what you're referring to, and the reason why they died. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're saying. What are you saying?
They don't tell you.
Who's
you
they?
Know, they just
Who's
drop,
they?
Well, people drop dead, you know.
Okay,
and
well
they don't get
sadly, people drop dead every day in this country for a lot of different reasons. So I'm not sure what that means. Now, unless you could show direct correlation from a doctor or a death certificate, then you're just throwing things at a wall with respect, my dear, and hoping that it sticks. Okay. To me, that's misinformation that you're giving out. The bottom line, and I will say this again, I listen to my personal physicians. I listen to people that know my medical history, and then I make a determination with them. When you say they, I don't know what you're referring to. I got vaccinated. I'm healthy. I'm doing great. I believe it saved my life. My parents were vaccinated. They're doing great. I believe it saved their lives. And I know hundreds of people in my orbit that have been vaccinated, and they're doing great as well. I don't know one person personally, my dear, who has ever gotten vaccinated and had a horrible effect because of it. Just because somebody, as you say, drops dead and they're vaccinated doesn't mean they died because of the vaccine. It means maybe they died from something else. You know, there's a ton of people in the world that have been vaccinated. People still die every day, my dear. So my advice to you is don't listen to the media. Listen to your personal physician and listen to people that actually have some medical credentials. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is an imbecile, and he's not one of them. And by the way, a lot of the people that were anti-vaccine now are dead, including 6 right-wing talk show hosts who preached anti-vaccine stuff, and they died. Herman Cain was another one, a man who once had cancer. He went to one of Donald Trump's rallies with 20,000 people. He contracted COVID a week later and he died. So if you want to really talk about people that have lost their lives, let's talk about the millions of people that died of COVID, not people that had adverse effects from the vaccines, my dear. You sound like a very nice lady, but you also sound like you're a little bit ill-informed. I appreciate your call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to RJ, who's calling from Las Vegas. What's up, RJ?
Hey, greetings, my brother. Hey, first off, you did a magnificent job of squashing that clandestine MAGA voter that you had on your line earlier. Like always, you always do. You do a very good job, man.
Thank you.
But I really want to make a point on the one that you had on Friday that was running for mayor of Mississippi, the Klans member.
Yeah, let me just give people
Okay.
a little bit of background, and then I'll let you finish, sir, just so people know. So if you didn't hear my show on Friday, this gentleman is talking about a guy who's running for mayor in Biloxi, Mississippi. He said the N-word on the air on Friday. I got him to admit that when he gets angry at black people, these are his words, when he gets angry at black people, he calls them the N-word when he goes home. And he also admitted that he probably at one point has called Kamala Harris the N-word. This is a guy who's actually running for office as a Republican, running for the mayor of Biloxi, Mississippi. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, these people are despicable, man. But he made a comment about Martin Luther King had made a statement about he hoped that the North Vietnamese army would decimate the U.S. Army. No, wait a minute. Hold on here. Martin Luther King's whole program about himself and his movement was nonviolence. He was a nonviolent activist who preached turn the other cheek. Now, how can somebody have that in his core belief system in one instance, and then turn around and say that he hopes the North Vietnamese, who are our enemies, decimate the U.S. Army? That did not happen. MLK never said anything like that ever.
Well, listen, I agree with you, obviously. But when you're talking to somebody who is a white supremacist or white supremacist sympathizer, or in this case, this guy who was in the Klan for like 30 years, yeah, they're going to have the blinders on, and it doesn't matter what somebody does, as long as they're a darker shade, skin color wise, they will come up with reasons, and they'll come up with anything they can of why they should dislike somebody, and that's who that guy is. And you know what? Here's what's really sad about that guy. He was a very unintelligent, ill-informed man, and he's been brainwashed. And he sent me some text messages after saying, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. But maybe it was the way he was raised. He's just a very ignorant man. And that's not an excuse, by the way. Ignorance, there's a lot of ignorant people out there that don't hurl the N-word, by the way. So I'm not saying that's an excuse. But it's amazing to me that we live in a country today. If somebody who used to be in the Klan and openly used the N-word was running for office, I feel like 10 years ago, everybody would call it out. But I feel like there are some MAGA Republicans out there that don't seem to mind it very much.
Well, I agree. Look, I've been around on the planet long enough that probably every race of every person has at one point pissed me off or did something. But in my mind, in my anger, I got angry at them, not their race. So it never occurred to me to in my mind curse them out or call them some kind of negative pejorative or anything like that. But some people, for some reason, are just wired that way. But I'm interested if you're going to watch and see what happens in his election, whether he wins his race or not. I'm going to really pay attention to that and see what the outcome of that is going to be.
I don't think he will, but we'll find out, my friend, and I appreciate your call. And for anybody out there that missed that interview, my YouTube page, I have the interview up there right now. The guy who I had on, that gentleman who called in is right. I mean, he said the N-word on this show. He openly admitted to calling black people the N-word when he goes home because he's angry at black people, and he said he's probably called Kamala Harris the N-word as well. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. All right. Who are we going to? Let's go to Julian. Julian's calling out of Colorado. Hey, Julian, what's going on?
What is going on, Brian? Hey, man, as always, I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
I think, what you had a guy that called earlier. We need to just call this out. And that's why I love your show so much, man, because we're normalizing, like you said 10 years ago, man, if that guy from Mississippi was running, people had enough decency to go, no, hell no. That guy's bad for business. We can't have him around. And it's, as you're saying, that the one thing that orange turd has done is uncovered a yellow belly of America that hasn't been talked about in a long time. And as one of your guests caller said, the original sin of America just has not been addressed.
Right.
And I think you have a class of late baby boomers that have raised some of these people to think this way because they live that way. And they always talk about the fear of losing what they grew up with. And what they grew up with was racism. They grew up with that fear of another race taking over. And so I'm a black man. I'm married to a white woman. Her parents are awesome. You know, I told her, I was like, man, if your dad and me didn't think the same way, this would be a rough marriage. But it does take white people to call out this unforgiven sin, this untalked about sin, and to call it out. And again, man, that's why I respect you so much and keep doing what you're doing, because it's not just going to be black people or people of color. It's going to be a coalition of all races, and we know how to take care of these fascist bastards. We hit them in their nose. And so, man, I appreciate you, man, and keep doing what you're doing, Brian.
Well, hang on the line for a minute. I appreciate your comments. I don't care what somebody's color of skin is. I don't care what their sexuality is. I don't care how much money they have. What matters is, are you a good person? Are you a decent person? Are you a family person? Are you good to your family? Are you good to your friends? How do you live your life? And unfortunately, there are still way too many. One person is too many, but there's way too many people in this country that judge people based on those things, and they're bigots. So what I try to do is I will always defend whether it be the LGBTQ community or the transgender community, or whether it be minorities, no matter what the color of your skin is. As Donald Trump said, go back to your S-hole countries. Funny, he never says that to people that are from Switzerland or Sweden, but he says it to brown people.
Oh, never.
Yeah, I find that very interesting. But you're right. I'm very angry at white people that are not calling it out, because you are complicit. If you are white living in this country and you think it should be okay for a former Klansman who uses the N-word to run for office, then I want you deported. I want all white people in this country that think it's okay for Klan members to run for office and don't have a problem with it. It might even support somebody like that. I want you deported to either Gaza or Russia or the El Salvador prison, where they sent off a bunch of people that never had due process. That's what I think.
Yep. No, brother. Hey, man, again, you're appreciated, man. You keep speaking truth to power, and
thank you, my friend.
It's going to take all of us to knock this crap off.
Amen, my friend. I appreciate you. Please call back. I appreciate you. Great call. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate you very much. All right, why don't we go to the UK? Yes, we have callers that call from all over the country. We haven't had any Canadian callers today. I'm very disappointed in my Canadian listeners. Where are you today? We haven't had any we had one MAGA call in. I shouldn't say that. We had one MAGA call in. He just happened to be a racist. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, right? 702-221-7283. Let's go to Paul. He's calling from the UK. What's up, Paul?
Hey, hi, Brian. I just wanted to address the question that you originally asked as a point of the conversation, which is, would he run again? Now, I know I'm from the UK. If you remember, I've followed Trump since 2016. I've read about 13 books on him.
Yep.
Because I think it's best to know your enemy. And in my opinion, he won't run again. And the reason is because he's so transactional. He obviously ran again to keep out of jail. We know that. He's now got he's never going to jail. We've all got to accept the courts will never hold him accountable. So I don't think there's anything really in it for him anymore. And he doesn't want to be president. He doesn't want to do the act of presidenting, the hard work of presidenting.
Can I cut in real quick and say, here's why I might disagree with you. His ego. He wants to be in the limelight. So, Paul, I get why you're saying that, maybe from a transactional standpoint, but his ego, and I think his ego will not let him walk into the sunset. He wants to be the center of attention, right?
Well, it's a fair counter argument, to be honest, Brian. It's almost like it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
My gut feels he's just too knackered to do it. To be honest.
Hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't. I don't know how to say this, but I hope he doesn't last much longer in the current term. But unfortunately, he seems to be hanging in there with every burger.
Yeah, listen, I hear what you're saying, and I just think that his ego will not allow him to just go into the MAGA bigot sunset. I feel like I feel like he's going to want to remain in the limelight. So if he doesn't run or try to break our own Constitution and the 22nd Amendment, he's going to find his way to still be in power in one way or another. I don't know what that will be. It's very dangerous to think that, but I do believe it could happen, my friend. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get your point. I mean, now you express it like that, I think I was 70-30 for my theory. I'm sort of 51-49 now. It's a bit like Ace King versus Deuces.
Oh, there you go. You're a poker player. I like that. I'll take the Ace King suited.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, a little poker reference. Do you know what they call Ace King in America?
Yeah, Big Slick.
No, Anna Kournikova. Do you know who Anna Kournikova is?
Oh,
you know
really?
why? You know why?
Big Slick.
Yeah. Well, they call her Anna Kournikova. You know what? She looks good, but she never wins. little poker joke there for you. Sorry, but
I always called it Big Silly.
All right. Well, now you're gonna call it Anna Kournikova. Hey, Paul, it's good to hear from you. It's good. It's good to hear from you, my friend. Have a good one. That is true, by the way. That is true. A little poker reference there. Let's go to Mark, who's calling out of Josh Shapiro's Pennsylvania. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Brian. I'm not even going to respond about that last MAGA caller.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the use? I want to get back on track with your original question.
Sure.
And that was, do we believe Donald Trump when he says he wants to run for a third term?
Mm-hmm.
When do we really start believing him? It's about time, right? 9 years?
Yep.
Now, I'm going to mention 3 ways, and one of these are going to work. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. He didn't go through all of this just to leave office in 2028. Either he is going to have his Proud Boys and all the Oath Keepers call civil disturbances, and Congress will call martial law, and they will then have the authority to suspend elections indefinitely. That's Congress's power. The other way is that Vance becomes president, and then, or whoever, let's say a Republican becomes president.
Yep.
Then they can nominate Trump to be House Speaker if they keep the House.
I think that's Mark. I think that's another scenario. I think he'd either run as vice president or be the House Speaker.
And then they drop down, both of them, and Trump takes over the presidency with his pick for vice president.
I think that's very plausible. That's my feeling on what could happen, and I take it very seriously like you. I think he either runs as a vice presidential running mate or he becomes the House Speaker. I could absolutely...
And there's no one going to stop him,
Right,
Brian.
right.
Nobody's going to stop him. They can't.
That's what's dangerous, Mark. I agree with you, and that's why we got to start talking about this now. I mean, it's important. We got to start talking about it now.
Now, one more thing to that lady who claimed that they are keeping secrets. Stop watching Newsmax and stop watching Fox, because they're the ones giving you conspiracy theories. I was in the medical field all my life. All right, vaccines work. They don't eliminate the disease.
But they work.
Don't eliminate it. What they do is they keep you from getting seriously ill, where you have to be put into a hospital.
Okay, so Mark, I agree with you.
Sure.
I agree with everything you just said. But what I've told people consistently since day one is don't listen to media people. Listen to people with medical credentials. And guess what? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. doesn't have any. He's an idiot. He doesn't have any, okay?
Well, look what he did to that other country, right? He left the country in shambles.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, my friend. Mark, it's always good to hear from you, and I do appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to Arizona. Why don't we do that? Home of, let's see. Well, there's some interesting characters in Arizona, but let's go to Cindy. Let's go to Cindy. Cindy, what's going on?
First of all, I'm a blue in Arizona,
Wow.
a red state. I think there's still a red state.
Who's the woman who ran for governor who lost? Why am I forgetting her name? The Republican, the MAGA moron.
I know who you're talking about. Trump put her in charge of Voice
Somebody
of
in the
America.
chat. Somebody in the chat will tell.
Yeah. Okay. Because I cannot remember.
Carrie Lake.
I've only been here.
Carrie Lake.
Huh?
Carrie
Carrie
Lake.
Lake.
Yeah.
Thank God she lost.
The imbecile Carrie Lake. Yeah, with her
Yes,
recounting of election of votes and complete moron. What a moron.
I know.
Oh.
I know. She tried to trump it the whole way, and it just wasn't as effective.
All right,
for
I'm
her.
sorry. Can I say something inappropriate?
Sure, go ahead. I don't care.
Please don't hold it against me. Why is it every single time? And you guys in the chat, and forgive me, If you think this is a little rude, forgive me. But why is it every time Carrie Lake does an interview on television, she looks like she's from the 80s of one of those Skinamax movies? Why is that? Why is that?
Because that's how she makes up and dresses.
Did you think I'm wrong? You know what I'm talking about here. You know what, my dear. You know what I'm talking about. She looks like somebody from one of those 1982 Skinamax, a scene with Ron Jeremy. I don't know. It's really strange to me. Am I wrong? I don't know. It's very odd putting. I'm sorry.
I don't think you're wrong.
Okay, good.
I don't think you're wrong, but I'm also very, very biased. I do not like the woman.
Well, neither do I. But I mean, I'm just saying.
Anything you say about her, I will agree.
It's very strange. That's all I'm saying. She has some filter on her screen. And it's almost like the filter says Skinamax 1985. That must be the name of the filter. I don't know.
Skinamax.
Yeah. That's what I call it. I told you it was inappropriate. I'm very immature. But that's what she's like a Skinamax talking head MAGA from like 1985 who still can't get over the fact that she lost the election as governor. Thank God she didn't win that one. She's an election denying idiot. And she's a MAGA talking head. That's all she is. She's a nothing MAGA talking head.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah. She's cuckoo.
It's really, she is. I think it's really funny that Trump felt like he needed to put her somewhere in his administration or in an agency.
Well, I mean,
so
you know,
put
listen.
Her in Voice of America, and then now he's killing off
Voice of America. Voice of nut job. She's cuckoo for orange Cocoa Puffs, and that's why Donald Trump hired. And she wears the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7. That's what she does.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
right,
you listen.
right,
Listen.
right.
You stay safe there as a Democrat. You stay safe out there in Arizona, and don't let anybody give you any crap. Okay.
No, I do not.
All right.
No.
Good.
Absolutely not.
Good. You do that, and you stay
Absolutely.
safe. You stay safe out there.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Let's go back to Skinamax TV. Is Carrie Lake on the line? Oh, she's not. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go back to the phone calls, if I may. Let's go to Brad, who's calling out of Ohio. Let's go to Brad. Brad, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Brad?
Hey, how's it going, Brian?
Good, man. What's on your mind today?
A lot, man. Like, how didn't Wisconsin just put cuffs on Elon Musk when he walked into the state?
Am I wrong? Does he sound like Ozzy Osbourne? Hey, Elon. Hey, Elon. When are we getting those $5,000 Doge checks? Sharon! That's what he sounds like.
No
Sharon!
shit, dude.
By the way, I love Ozzy.
Cool. Elon isn't.
That's true. I love Ozzy Osbourne. No disrespect to Ozzy. I love Ozzy. Sharon, when are we getting the checks? Well, it's up to the Congress. The Congress and it's Donald Trump. But eventually they'll get you get the checks. How much are the checks going to be? It could be anywhere from up to $5.
A penny.
It could be
a fucking penny.
it could be up to $5 million. What does that mean? Up to $5 million? Well, have you ever heard a commercial that says you could win, or like a casino you walk into where they say sign up for a player's card and you can win up to $10 million, but that also means you'll probably get like $5, right? That's Elon Musk, the snake Elon. Elon, how much money are we going to get with those Doge checks? Up to $5 million. We're just going to play. Yeah. We're going to play Elon Musk talking every day, I think. We need some sound effects here.
We need
Numchuck's going to work on that. He just promised me. He's going all right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. That sounded like Donald Trump.
No,
I sound like Donald Trump in the 13th second of with Stormy Daniels. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir. I'm very immature. I'm a very immature person. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who am I? I am very immature, and I am a veteran. And
thank you for your service.
You don't have to thank me for that.
Yes, I do. I do.
I'm sick of this shit.
Well, so am I, my friend. And I will say this: you always have a platform on this show, and you will always be able to give me your Elon Musk impersonation every time you call in, sir. I want to hear it. I appreciate Tesla. Like he gets in like one word every 5 seconds. Tesla, Doge. I'm not the father. Thank you, Hockey Girl, for your donation on the YouTube Super Chat. Hockey Girl says Trump's currency is chaos, and his blood is attention, of course. He's going to run again and or never leave. No doubt about it, none. Well, Hockey Girl, unfortunately, I agree with you. So Darcy just made a $25 donation. Because of that, Darcy is entered into our monthly contest with a minimum of a $25 donation, whether it be my website or the YouTube Super Chat. So you'll have the chance maybe to co-host with me for at least one segment on PTL. Darcy says, your impersonations are spot on. Always allyship, super smart callers that have your back as you deal with racist tools. Well, Darcy, thanks to people like you, I get to do what I get to do every day, and I appreciate you. And you're right. Most of my callers are extremely informed and intelligent. We've really have created quite a community here on PTL, so I'm very humbled, and I appreciate all of you very much. Your check is in the mail. All right, who are we going to next here? My producer says we're going to Mathan out of California. Hey, Mathan.
Hi, Brian. How are you today?
Hey.
I always love listening to your show.
Thank you.
Okay, I have two things. First of all, according to the 22nd Amendment, Trump cannot run and become president twice. And even if he was vice president and something happened to the president, he could not technically become president. But I'm not sure if he was in the House of Representatives and was Speaker of the House. It doesn't address that fact. But then he would have to run for Congress to even be in the House of Representatives.
So
I can't see Trump doing that.
So I would say this to that. I would also say that Donald Trump has always talked about ripping up parts of the Constitution. He said that in the past.
Yes.
He's already broken law in the first 2 months as president. He'll find a way. And that's what.
Sadly.
Yeah. Sadly, you're correct. So we're both correct. I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. It is.
Well, let's pray that it doesn't. And the second thing I wanted to say is I love your hat. The color is so you.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. It just brings out my brightness, doesn't it, my dear? Well, I appreciate that.
Yes, it does.
You're very kind. I appreciate that compliment. I'm sure it would look much better on you than me, but I appreciate the compliment, my dear. Thank you so much. All right, let's get back to the calls, 702-221-7283. I wanted to try an orange shade, and try to see if it looks as good on me as it does Donald Trump. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I tried it. Let's get back to the phone call. I'm sorry, I can't stop with my Elon Musk impersonation. Keith is calling out of Ron DeSantis, sexy white boot, Florida. What's up, Keith? Thanks for calling in, my friend. What's on your mind?
Word to Satan. Listen, the thing about Trump running for a third term, it's not possible according to the 22nd Amendment, but there's a way to overturn that, and it would require a repeal amendment forwarded through the Congress, and it would have to pass with a 3/4 House and Senate.
Yeah.
And then it would go to the states, which would have to ratify it. 38 states would have to ratify it. It's only happened once in our history, and guess what? It was the Prohibition Amendment, Amendment 18.
Yeah.
So your caller that earlier, a couple callers ago, that was talking about like the Proud Boys and all that sort of thing, that's probably the only way he can do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't put other stuff past him. Look at what happened on January 6th. A free and fair election was attempted to be overturned. Look at the fake electorate scheme around the country. I mean, if you had asked me that, years ago, I would have said, no, that could never happen, but it did. So, luckily they weren't able to accomplish what they wanted to do, right, sir? But, what are you going to do, right?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, there are some scenarios where he can retain temporary power.
Yeah.
And I won't go into all that with you because it's like crazy stuff. It's crazy town.
Well, guess what? There's crazy times, my friend, that we are living in. Please say hello to that very sexy man, Ron DeSantis, for me with those white boots. I appreciate you. All right, let's go to Herb. Herb is next up on PTL. Hello, Herb.
Hey, Brian, long time no talk to. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Herb. How are you doing today?
All right. Listen, I didn't call to dispute or argue with you today. The previous caller that you got into it with, I think you misunderstood what he said.
Okay, so Herb,
let me tell you what I think he said. I think he said he was talking about Obama and the fact that he hadn't accomplished anything or done anything. And then he said, if you go back over the tape, I think it'll verify this.
Okay.
I think he said I think he said at that point, Obama can say, however, he was the first black president.
Okay, so two things, Herb. So, Herb, two things, right? Number one, if somebody misspeaks, I always give them the opportunity to correct themselves. He did not do that. Number two, he said, quote, and I remember exactly what he said, and I'm going to post it on YouTube. He said, the only thing Obama's got going for him is that he's black. Now, that's what he said.
Okay.
So listen. I always give people the opportunity to correct themselves. I misspeak. Now, I would never say anything like that, but here's why I don't think he misspoke, Herb, and you could tell me whether you disagree with me or not, okay? I don't think he misspoke because he also had a lot of negative things to say about Kamala Harris. So I guess my question to you would be this, Herb, with respect.
What did he say? What did he say about her? What did he? I didn't.
I'm trying to remember. I brought up Kamala Harris, and I said, do you also have a problem with Kamala Harris? And he called her like a buffoon or something, or he called her. But he didn't have anything negative to say about Donald Trump. He didn't have anything negative to say about white people, but he brought up two black people. But Herb, let me ask you this.
Well, yeah, but he didn't have much to say positive about Trump at all.
Right. I find exactly. That's my point.
He categorized them with the rest of them. He wasn't satisfied with him either.
Well, he certainly didn't call him a scumbag or call him any names or have the disparaging remarks that he did. He might have put him in the same category, but he didn't personally attack Donald Trump at all. And again, when somebody makes a statement like the only thing listen, you could disagree with Barack Obama's policies. You can think he wasn't a great president. That's fine. Fair conversation to have, even though I might disagree with you on that, I probably would. But when you say the only thing a guy has going for him is he's black, when the guy has a degree from Harvard and he became the president of the United States, it's a very ignorant thing to say, Herb. I think we could agree on that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It is. But here's what you have to remember, too, Brian. That's his opinion. And everybody's entitled to that. It's nothing.
Herb, I've never said that.
Let me finish, Brian. No. I'm just saying that was his. I'm not faulting you at all. Not at all. I'm just saying that was his opinion. And if that's what he believes, that's what he believes.
Okay.
But,
it was also. But hold on, Herb.
Herb,
hang on a second. So it was Adolf Hitler's opinion to exterminate the Jews. Okay. You can call that an opinion, and you can call a racist an opinion. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to sit here and call out these awful human beings. When somebody has an opinion, and by the way, I would just call that person a racist and a scumbag, that somehow the only thing Obama's got going for him is he's black. I wouldn't say, well, you're entitled to your opinion. I didn't say he broke the law. He has the right to say that, but he's a scumbag. And I hope somebody listening to this show knows who that gentleman is, and they can repost my YouTube clip and send it to their employer. Because quite frankly, there are consequences for the things you say. Just because you're entitled to your opinion, and you are, but it doesn't mean that there aren't consequences for the things you say. But
Brian, there's people walking around with opinions like that you run into every day. You may not know that that's their opinion. But those are people's opinions, and they're based on different things. But let me finish, Brian. Let me just say this. We can't call everybody a racist. I'm not saying he's not a racist.
Don't call everybody a racist. I don't. I call people racist.
No. I'm not saying, Brian, stop being so defensive. I'm not.
Okay, well, did we lose you, Herb?
You can't consider everybody a racist just because they have a negative attitude towards a couple of black folks. I'm black. And somebody may not like me,
so Herb,
because I'm black.
Okay, Herb, I hear you.
As long as they give me, but as long as they give me respect,
Herb,
that's all I care about.
Okay, Herb.
You know?
When you say, first of all, Herb, I've never characterized all people as racist. I've never done that. I characterize people racist who would make a statement like that. When you say that the only thing Obama's got going for him is that he's black, you are a racist. You have a problem with black
Brian,
people.
No, you got to stop that, man.
No, I'm not going to stop it. No, I'm not going to stop it. You got to stop defending racists.
Brian, let me tell you something.
I'm not going to stop.
Okay, but Brian, I understand your sensitivity towards this, and that's okay. It's good. However, you can't just because somebody says the N-word, that doesn't mean that they're racist.
Let me ask you a question then. Let's go with that. If somebody said the only thing you got going for you in life is you're a Jew, you think it'd be inappropriate for me to call that person an anti-Semitic person?
I'm I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not familiar with.
Okay, hold on, Herb.
Wait a minute, I'm not. Let me just say this. I'm not familiar with the considerations and the remarks about Jews. Now, if you ask me something about black folks, then I can give you a comment.
You don't.
Black folks.
Herb, I don't think you have to be Jewish or understand Jewish people to answer the question. So let me ask it again. Okay, this way. If somebody was a very accomplished person, half of what Barack Obama has accomplished, the person happened to be Jewish. Say they were a very successful business person or a very successful politician, whatever. But they had a very accomplished career and a law degree and you name it. Very successful, good family person. And some random person that wasn't Jewish said the only thing that person has going for them is they're a Jew. Would it be fair to characterize that person as anti-Semitic? I think that's a very fair and very specific question. And you don't have to be an expert on people of the Jewish faith, I don't believe, to answer that.
Well, maybe I guess so, Brian.
Okay, so Herb. Herb, we agree.
Listen, Brian, it's hard for me to put myself in the place of a Jew.
Okay, so Herb.
Answer a question like that.
Okay, so Herb. Okay, I get it. You said probably. I'll take that as your answer. We agree. Herb, now let's go back to Barack Obama. Barack Obama, regardless of what you think about his policies, became the first black president of the United States. He got a law degree from Harvard, a brilliant man, a great father, beautiful kids that have grown up to be, very intelligent, beautiful adults, a lovely wife, a good family man who's never been in trouble with the law. He's never been charged or convicted with a crime. He pays his taxes. He's a good family man, hires a lot of people to work for him. And if a white person with a Southern accent who doesn't know him personally says, quote, the only thing Barack Obama has going for him is he's black. How can you not say that has racist tones to it?
Brian, the stupidity in that whole situation is the person that identified Obama.
Racism is stupidity. You're making my point for me.
Brian, okay, listen. If a person says that about Obama, he's the stupid one.
But that's what. Hold on a second. Let me just finish here. Hang on, Herb, okay? Hang on 1 second. Racism is stupidity. Anti-Semitism is stupidity. When you judge people based on race or religion, you're stupid. That's why we call them ignorant. And all I'm saying, you laughed, which I find interesting. I don't think it's funny when somebody says the only thing somebody has going for them is the color of their skin. I don't think that's funny, Herb. Why do you think that's funny? Help me out here, Herb.
Brian, I'm not laughing at that. Don't change the subject.
You laughed.
Don't try to.
You were just laughing.
Listen, I'm not, Brian, because it's amazing to me the things that you consider racist.
Really?
You've done this for years. I remember there was a few years ago, you got mad and you got upset at some stock car driver, professional driver, that you playing a video game used the N-word.
Yes, I did.
And you immediately called him racist.
Let me be very clear. If you are a white person talking to your white friends and in jest you use the N-word, most people in society would characterize that person as a racist. And that is not far-fetched, and I am amazed that you're willing to just brush that off and say, well, that doesn't necessarily mean they're racist. No, I'm going to say it right now. A white guy talking to his white friends, in this case, a NASCAR driver from down south, who, by the way, has made racist statements before, and he made and by the way, there's a reason why he lost his job. There's a reason why he lost his sponsor, and his career has never been the same, because he's a racist. Okay, now maybe people can change, sure. But I'll say it then, and I say it now. If you are a white person calling into this radio show, whether it's somebody using the N-word like we had on Friday, or somebody calling into the show saying the only thing that Barack Obama has going for him is he's black, you are an idiot and probably a racist, because I don't talk to people.
Oh, probably.
I would say definitely. I would say, I would change my wording and say definitely. You are a racist. That guy is a racist.
I'll let you go.
And I don't know why you
Let me just
defend
say
people
this.
like that. Why do you defend people like that?
I'm not defending them.
Certainly sounds like you are.
Let me just say this, and I'll let you go. To me, two of the worst things that you could possibly be is a child molester and a rapist. Those are the two lowest things on the totem pole, as far as I'm concerned. But before I label,
hold on, Herb. Herb, can I ask you something?
I got to be sure. I got to know. There has to be
okay. So can I ask you? I understand, Herb. I get you. I don't disagree with you. So Herb, can I ask you a question, if that's all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, because I think this is an important one. So you voted for Donald Trump. So Jeffrey Epstein is on record as saying Donald Trump was his best friend. Donald Trump was on the Epstein flight log 7 times. Donald Trump once bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms sexually on the Howard Stern show when he owned the pageant without their permission. And you mentioned the word rapist. Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. He's had 25 women that have come forward that have accused him of don't laugh, because it's not funny. It's not funny. Hold on. Let me finish. You don't like it when people interrupt you. Let me finish my question. He has 25 women that have accused him of sexual abuse or rape. So I agree with you, Herb. Some of the two worst things you can do in society, I agree with you, is be a child molester and or a rapist. You voted for that guy, Herb. So how is it that you come on this show and you say child molestation and rapists are some of the worst people society have to offer? By the way, Herb, I agree with you. How could you vote for that guy then who bragged about going into teenage locker rooms and is a liable sexual abuser? How could you vote for somebody like that?
Because I was voting for a president that I thought it would do the best for this country. Not based on what he had done in the past.
So as long as you like some of his policies, you're willing. So as long as you like some of his policies, you're willing to put aside rape, and you're willing to put aside going into teenage locker rooms. So even though you claim that the two worst things in society are child molestation and rape, you voted for an adjudicated rapist because you thought he could have been good for the country. Is that fair, Herb? That makes no sense to me.
Right.
Well, I think that's insane. So you're okay with rapists if you like some of their policies. Is that correct, Herb? If you're a rapist, that's okay as long as you like a few of the policies. Is that fair, Herb?
Somebody told you last week that
Herb, why won't you answer?
Broker, when you look for a broker for your money to invest your money, you don't necessarily know what their background is as far as
but you knew what but that's not an excuse because you knew what his background was. You voted for an adjudicated rapist. You voted for a guy who went into teenage girls' locker rooms and bragged about it on the Howard Stern show without their permission. Don't make the excuse of we didn't know his background. Herb, you knew his background. You voted for a guy like that who's an adjudicated rapist. You voted for a guy. You're the one who brought up child molestation. You're the one who brought up rape. You voted for an adjudicated rapist. Why don't you own it? Own it on this show right now. I like this. I voted for an adjudicated rapist, but I liked some of his policies. Herb, at least just admit it.
And if I had it all over to do it again, I'd vote for him again.
Well, that's why Donald Trump called people like you deplorables. I appreciate your call, Herb. Thank you very much and have a nice day. But don't call into this show and say how much you hate rape. I do too. I agree with you. And then vote for a guy whose own ex-wife said that he raped her in a deposition. Have a nice day. Well, you know what? I know he's probably an adjudicated rapist, and he went into those teenage locker rooms. But you know what? I like a few of his policies. No, that doesn't work with me anymore, Herb. I appreciate the call. Why do you defend rapists, and why do you defend rapists? Why do you defend rapists, and why do you defend racists, I should say? 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Homer. Homer is calling from St. Louis. What's up, Homer?
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, good, man. Doing all right. What's on your mind?
I was in a very good mood, which is extremely rare nowadays before that Herb call. Oh, my God. Lord, have mercy.
Yes.
I mean,
I hear you.
Good
yes.
freaking grief. And I mean, he really, whew, Lord, that's what I'm dealing with in my family, or some of the MAGA supporters in my family that doesn't have they can't articulate, a real defense for why they support Donald Trump. But anyway, I didn't call in for that. It just threw me off listening to it. It's been very refreshing. I was enjoying the fact that you were enjoying yourself today, and I just wanted to call in and say, like, because I enjoyed your Elon Musk impression, and so it's hilarious. But you know what's sad and scary about that, Brian, is that while it's hilarious, I'm like, is this exaggerated? It's not even exaggerated, because I listened to this buffoon, and then it's like, okay, this is the richest man in the world, and it's and I'm like, how can anybody listen to this and think that this man is a genius in any capacity?
He doesn't have Asperger's. He's an ass. You know what? That's what he is. That's what he is.
Right.
Yeah, it's not Asperger's.
I mean, and it is just mind-boggling to me, to listen to people like this and to have people validate this stupidity. And while I was listening to your impression, I'm like, this is exactly where we are as a country.
He really, by the way, I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if you knew this, but he really only says 3 words in his Doge, Tesla, Trump. He really only has 3 words in his vocabulary. If you really listen closely, he really only says 3 things.
And if you replayed that clip, nobody could probably even distinguish between what you were saying in the form of satire and what Elon Musk actually says out of his freaking mouth.
That's true.
And that's what's really freaking sad.
Do we have Elon Musk? I think we have Elon. You want to hear some Elon? Stay on the line.
The real
Here we go.
They'll that alien. There's no aliens visit. Like if are you is I don't know, but then little that's the was like he thought it was like it's to be
okay, that's enough. I can't handle it anymore. That was good. Dumb Chuck found that one. That was good. There you go. That's the richest man in the world. Doge, Trump, government waste, Tesla. 4 words. I'm sorry. He's got 4 words.
That is just sad. I mean, that is just sad. Hey, I wanted to ask you about something before I go. So I just wanted to get your opinion on, what do you think about, so a lot of the defense I've heard and people that are opposed to Ukraine and saying we're wasting all this money in Ukraine and things of that nature. But then you hear the likes of Donald Trump, J.D. Vance saying that Denmark isn't taking care of Greenland and all of these things that they're going to do in terms of making moves on Greenland.
Ridiculous.
And it's like, okay, but it's like, okay, so we're willing to say, okay, we don't want to waste money in Ukraine, in the interest of international security, but we're willing to do it for Greenland because it's a territory that we want. And the argument is just ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous, and they don't even want them there. These people in Greenland were wearing hats, get out, like anti-MAGA hats. Thank you for the Doge call, sir. Let's go to Terry. Terry's calling out of New York. What's up, Terry?
Hi, Ryan. Oh, my God. I need a sedative listening to these people. Okay, so a couple of things. First, I am your hockey girl in your super chat. It's me, Terry from New York.
All right.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, someday we need to have a beer and talk some hockey, but that'll be another day.
I would like to do that. That sounds like fun.
Okay, the other thing is listening to the callers talk about Trump running again, and I really appreciate how some of them, they do their homework and they've got the rules, and they're like, well, he wouldn't be able to do that because of this, and he'd have to follow that, and this one would have to. That's all great, right? But
yeah,
he doesn't follow the rules. He never follows the rules. He hates rules. He despises any checks or controls in place and has complete and profound disdain for the law. He does not follow the rules. So he will cram himself into the White House and stay there. That's how he will run again, using finger quotes. There you go.
You're right. I agree with you. And I will also say that since you're a hockey girl, Donald Trump has never got a 2-minute penalty for high sticking in his life. So I just want. He's definitely
serious match penalty.
He's definitely been in the marriage penalty box. That's why Melania wants to be in another zip code. But he's never gotten 2 minutes. He's never scored a goal, as far as I know. Vladimir Putin has. He's never scored a goal. He's never gotten a 2 minutes for high sticking. Maybe 13 seconds for low sticking. But I think you're a hockey girl, so you'll appreciate those those comparisons.
Yeah, he needs to spend the rest of his political career in the sin bin without coming out. Period. I'm so over it.
I tend to agree with that. Well, I mean, those that have come out, Lindsey Graham still hasn't done that either, so he's been in the penalty box as well. But anyway, thank you for the call, my dear. I appreciate you. I love all you guys out there. So we got a special show tomorrow because I love David Pakman. And we're going to have a very special start to the program tomorrow. Trust me when I say you're not going to want to miss it. We have a very special gift for you. So we've got about 5 or 6 people that are in our contest with a $25 donation. You have a chance to be guest hosting with me for a segment if you make a $25 donation. And we got another one here from Sam. Sam, I appreciate your purchase. If you make a purchase, you're also entered into that. So Sam did that on pushinglimits.live. And we also I'm looking for her name here. Sometimes on my work or Jennifer, thank you for your donation. Actually, she ordered the PTL Men's Classic Tee, maybe for her husband or boyfriend or son or whoever. We appreciate that as well. And of course, the people in the YouTube Super Chat with a $25 donation are entered as well. Check out my website, pushingthelimits.live, by the way. This is one of the fastest growing shows around, man. And I love you guys. We've created quite a PTL family here. We're a close-knit community. We really are. I don't know what hat I'm going to be wearing tomorrow, but I've been told I should wear a different hat every day of the week. So I will consider that, okay? The very awesome David Pakman is going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss that. Some special guests coming up towards the end. Can we just hear a little bit of Elon before we go? Is that okay? Wait, hold on. Elon, when are we getting those Doge checks? Can you tell me, please? All right. Doesn't sound like we're going to get an answer from Elon today. All right, that's all right. We'll be back at it tomorrow. We'll see if Elon answers that question. Elon, shut up. I'm done. I'm done talking to you. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah. With our that's it's so it's like and then and then you I mean basically
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that